What?
Hi, traders. I'm Dale Pinkert. I'm here with my co-anchor, Mike Venezia. Red tape last couple of days, really accelerating today, Mike. Monday, I talked about buying the VIX. It was really technically based on this falling wedge. My fundamental argument was the VIX down here was priced for perfection, and things aren't perfect. So, I saw a comment of yours that you really trade even better when the VIX is going up. So I'm here to declare you're going to have a great summer trading season because I think the VIX could end up a lot higher as we head through into the fall.
Well, it certainly looks like that way, and one day does not make a reversal. But you have to think about catalysts, about what's going to bring about opportunity, and what's going to bring catalysts for either the market to stay strong, be weak, consolidate, pull back, whatever.
Here's the catalyst, brother. Breakout. Yeah, breakout and
you want to know something, Coach?
Yield.
That's probably one of the biggest catalysts out there. Money.
Cost of money.
That we've seen, major administration changes, geopolitical, even the COVID had a V bounce back. It all comes and the market bounced back all, but that's a different story when it comes to interest rates. I've seen it just happen. It happened a year ago.
Yeah, and I was going to turn positive TLT if we could close over 104. Look what happened at 104. Rejected. Now we're pressing these lows.
Wow.
And no flight to quality. So just like 2021, when we had that bear move.
That's what I said. Well, maybe a year and a half.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right. It's all about rates. And really, the bond market's been stable since last October, while the market has been making its run since last October. So here's one chink in the armor. The other was international markets, Mike. And while we were making new highs, and I'm going to turn it over to you, things like the DAX didn't make new highs. So I'm just looking for DAX here. Where are you? I'm always hunting.
Symbols DAX.
I know.
One trader you asked what the symbol of IBM was once.
Okay.
Get it?
Oh. Yeah. So DAX, I'm having a hard time finding it, but it definitely, it was part of this decline with it not making new highs. Here we go. Look at that.
Wow. You know what? And like we always say sometimes, Coach, whether it's a chart of whatever financial instrument, you got to take note that it's going to wind up being, I don't know if it's going to wind up being a scar, but it's a bite. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bite. And the strongest market in the world has been Nikkei. And that too looks like, could be in some type of topping mode here. So these rates have had the most impact on equities, but it's not limited to equities. They got to the silver pretty good right here, down 45 cents. Gold was up before the news today, up $10-12, and now it's down $5. And here's the yen. It fought its way all the way back. What's really interesting is on a day like this with rates going, why the dollar isn't sharply higher, and right now the Dixie's unchanged.
Well, that's where Helene says price action trumps sentiment. Let's pay attention. Has anything made sense so far when you've having these statements of the 10-year or the 10-year not making a move since 19? We're starting to get in those expanded parameters where we haven't had a pullback in like 8 days. There are things that are happening now that are going out. I haven't seen this in a couple of years, 10 years. So, it's just like the complacency, they turn just like that. I mean, It's amazing how stocks went from the penthouse to the poorhouse. I have a stock I was down. I'm not going to get into it.
All right. Well, you said when we talked last time we talked was last Thursday, and you said you would sell a bounce in AMD up to around 115, 116. Perfect call. Got to 117 under pressure. Semis. I noticed Microsoft is holding up. To me, what's going to be real important in the S&Ps is going to be this line again. This is where we held when we had that
Right.
little pullback.
What is that
And
line,
then,
Coach?
so that's going to be coming in around 43.40. We'll see if it could, if we get down there, if it could hold it. Otherwise, I still think 4,200 was such an important level
As
that
everybody
we're going to,
should know, because it's a whole number. It was
yeah,
waffling between that range for a while. And when you get to be experienced, it's not really so much you have to go back and charts and micromanage. That should be a level in your head. It should be an 8. You know what I mean?
yeah. And 4,200, you can, let's look at monthly. That was, that's really a telescope. You ever look at monthlies?
And only when I'm in trouble. But I'm trying to
All
find the
right.
bottom.
All right, yeah. So the monthly, look at June. I mean, that's one straight up blue candle for June, and now we're a shade lower on the month for our July. But you'll remember, and I had FOMO by trying to position myself for this early, although I did do some, VIX buying and added on to some tech shorts
But I'll tell you.
before the top.
Okay.
July was the call of my buddy who passed away, who said it was going to be a crash month.
That was my call. I actually said late June, if you remember. I'm not saying,
Okay.
still, listen, it still might happen. You want to know why? This is a day that the Bears wanted a pull back to cover. This is a day the Bulls, hold on,
Yeah.
except if they plan to get it punched in the face, like I said. So
Yeah, I
both
saw that
parties
Tyson
want
thing.
this.
All right. Well,
So,
okay. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Coach. You know what I'm going to say.
The title of this interview is there any wise guy option sweep trades being put through today that could back up this 1 day move that it may have, the sell-off could have staying power?
I have a lot to say.
And I'm gonna turn it over to you, brother.
I have a lot to say to that, Coach, because what we do in TGH is that perfect answer, or that perfect question, the segue, if you will, into what we really do, and what our greatest acumen at TradeGATEHub is here, is buying stocks in uptrends showing relative strength, having option sweepers and the smart guys back up their bets. You could have any wise guy kid, goes on a little run in Vegas and craps for a half an hour and takes his money, but it's the real pros that stay there and stick to and watch the trends and then put the money and back it up, instead of a kid making a couple of nickels and dimes and catching a trend and walking away and acting.
Yeah, because I mean, these big sweeps, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars being committed to a bet.
So let's
hundreds
look.
Of thousands.
And the why, and you know what, Coach, they know. And you know what? It's been a long time.
I always wondered how they knew, but I mean, it's not it's nothing that you invented.
No,
But you noticed how important it was, and it became part of your process. I don't know how they know. It's almost like they're the bookmakers at Vegas or any other gambling sites, like they have some insight that the public doesn't have.
Well, coming from a racetrack background, that kind of works. But the whole listen, just like TradeView Markets, how we're making a push, more marketing than ever. Just like when we watched the movie Wall Street, it used to be it was who you knew. Now today's it's who knows you, and that's why we're continuing to do this. And the segue that you said about option sweepers, and I go to my I pay nice money for the feed, and it's a top tier feed, and I didn't split the atom like you said. Anything that I provide to you is not proprietary. I'm not pushing my system. I'm not that smart. I don't want to be. I take an amalgamation of 4 to 5 tools, sentiment, option sweepers, that certainly after 26 years, and I have peers like yourself, Tim, all people at a high level that know what they're doing. And like I said, nothing attracts a crowd like a crowd. That's what happens with options. So that's why we use it. With that being said, any option sweepers today? Nothing really. They went and bought a couple of, bought some Microsoft, some Apple and some Meta. But you know what? That was short term.
Apple puts, or calls?
Calls.
They bought Apple calls. Okay, so there's
all right.
still
Let's go.
betting on
Let's
the
look.
upside.
All right, here it is right here. Not really much of anything noteworthy call activity out there. A couple names seeing some short dated calls. I said it. Meta, Snap. Okay, Snap. The best they could do is Snap on a pullback. So anti-VIX on bull squeeze, put calls lifting because they were, I mean, everybody was so complacent.
That was another reason I bought the VIX, because last week you were talking about the huge call volume going on in VIX. You said that it was record breaking. That to me showed a lot of interest in VIX, whether you were writing them or not. I feel sorry for the guys that are writing them, but they've collected so much money over the last year or so selling volatility that every once in a while they're going to get squeezed, and they're getting squeezed.
I appreciate that, Coach, but once again, look at Square. What happened here? Issue is that really it doesn't. I appreciate that, and that's your. But both, by the way, also it's my interpretation. But whether or not it's the VIX or anything else, there was a financial instrument that everybody was watching that had a tremendous amount of call activity being a coiled spring and suppressed. Those are things, whether it's buying Apple on a dip or those are tools, whatever finance instrument you got to be aware of, whether you trade it or not. That's a major, that's 101. That's maybe, those are setups you got to be aware
of. The banks still look bad. I mean, higher rates like I showed in the 10-year yield. How does that help the regionals that were already in trouble and underwater on their duration play in bonds? Well, that's only going to put more pressure on them.
Well, I appreciate
what's that, Citi?
Yeah, well, that's Citibank. And what I was going to say before that is
doesn't look so pretty. Citi ain't so pretty, Mike. Citi ain't so pretty.
Also, that was a relative strength example as you looked at JP Morgan.
All the banks.
JP Morgan was breaking out, and let's JP Morgan. JP Morgan, even Wells Fargo still has the hangover. So Citibank, and for example, that
Goldman. That was week before this.
But the one to show.
What a weak
by the way, was Citi. And why was Citi the weakest of all, Coach? Is
Are you short?
The most international exposure out of the
okay, more than Goldman?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
That's all right. You know what? It doesn't really matter, but that is the reason.
So I think we could see the October lows again in Citi, 39.
Well,
over the coming months.
Well, there's no, I mean, you could do anything you want.
Okay, that's not 39. So the low, you're going back to the COVID low.
Well, that's a weekly, Coach.
Okay.
I mean,
so we could go the COVID low.
Maybe well, you know what?
That's how the regionals look like they could go the COVID low.
That's the weekly on the regionals. That's the daily on the regionals. It's matter of fact, Coach.
See the two drives there, bro?
No,
the one at 2 drives right now. There's another one coming. You have one at about 40. I don't know what the month was, and then you had that last low. That was 2, and I think a third is coming, which will take out that two low.
So you think a rally to short, not to start a position here?
No, I don't think there's going to be much of a rally.
It doesn't look.
I think that you could sell it right here and be wrong over your moving average.
Right.
Tight stop.
VIX. I mean, the bottom line is again, the VIX made a couple
go into your green line.
The 200 day?
That's around March's lows. When
March's highs.
That was 3,800. No, that was March's lows. That's a VIX.
Okay, so I got you. I apologize. Yeah, I got you.
Okay, when we went to 60, that was a sell-off on the banks. Okay, we put in a March low on SVB failure.
Right.
That was S&P 3,800.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, you know what? You don't have to be a hero here, because what it looks like to me, and if I can be a proverbial doctor looking at an X-ray, it's teetering again. I mean, it had 3 gaps that were holding bases solidly. Yeah. Granted, there was a holiday mixed in there, end of the quarter mixed in there. Everybody got hyped up with the window dressing. Yeah. So that really doesn't say it in the chart.
Looks like an island top, which
it's all over. You know what, Coach? Brilliant. You want to know what? It's all over my internet today. The feeds, island tops. Even Helene said something about it.
Island top and Apple.
Yeah, I guess it is.
Gapped up on the goggles. We're gonna end up calling that the goggle top, maybe.
Whatever it is, at least at least if you say it, I'll know what to identify exactly what happened.
All right, looking for that green line on Apple there. Walmart.
Walmart,
Yeah,
there's inside. I think Walmart's going to pull a situation like this again,
yeah.
even though it's not really. If the economy or if where we're going, it says where we're going, maybe there's what.
Look at the divergence you have there compared to that high we made last week or to this week. Look at the RSI's under 70 compared to the prior one.
Brilliant.
That's pretty glaring.
That's correct. And I would start a position here based upon your
RSI.
RSI.
Go ahead. I'll give you a minute to push the button.
Hold on. The only negative about this is that oh, here's target, the divergence. Here's target.
Worse.
Worse.
Oh my gosh.
Oh. Big Lots was a nice trade yesterday. What'd that do? Actually, you know what? It had range. See, even the stocks that they were playing. I mean, Big Lots is an $8 stock. Went from $8 to, well, first of all, $8.35 to $9.50 is a hell of a move. I don't care what it is. But then again, if you're stuck in it, it petered out. So even the stocks that were staying hot, you know, it kind of petered out. Upstart now is, you know, just listen. It's a way. It's right now. We're in that channel. We're in a channel, and you're going to have, if they break it either way, which it looks like it's more ominous than favorable at this point. You're going to have plenty of time. You know, it's you're going to have time to short. How about that, right, Coach? You agree?
No.
You think it's going to cascade?
Yeah.
Okay. Enough said. That's why we're here.
Okay. Yeah, I think this fixed signal is for real. I think what the banks are doing is for real. I think you had your rally in banks. You had it. It terminated. So, I mean, yeah, you could get intraday rallies, but I think the highs that we put in are significant that we've talked about so far today. Yeah, okay. Shopify. You know, I don't know about the low floaters. They could always have special situations, but the you know, the ones with volume, bigger stocks like Goldman and Citi and some of the other things we looked at, I think you got to raise cash.
I'm going to raise cash right now. Doing it.
Especially if we close under 4340 S&Ps, because then 4200's the next. Like I was saying earlier, I think we're going to get back to 4200. That's going to be the acid test.
You know what's not positive either, and I appreciate that. Is where was it? Where was I showing? The fear and greed still way elevated.
Oh, it was at extreme greed Monday.
It's not even down now. Look at the washout here, though. This is the washout you're looking for in terms of put calls.
Oh, so a lot of put buying today.
Yeah, well, it started now, but that's what wiped us. That's what kept us, you know, up for so long. There was none of it, but they look like they're getting. Right. But the bottom line is, if it was a healthy market, then everybody knows I talked to Rev Shark. If it was a healthy market, then the small caps would have some relative strength today, and the money rolls out of Qs. That's not happening as the IWM is now lagging. So
the weak gets weaker.
We could get that proverbial sea of red that we haven't seen sometimes as I go back to my screen. Certainly as I look at the VIX here all day long, I mean, there's a certain amount of accumulation. You know what? If it pulls back at the 1120 and people take, you know, some profits on shorts, I wouldn't blame them. But the last time we broke over the 21-day with volume, as it looked like we're going to do here, it carried up. So
yeah,
usually this VIX on a day like this with volume, I'm telling you, it sans any news. I don't see any coming out on the calendar as I post everything on TradeGATEHub. I wouldn't be looking for the VIX to pull any type of reverses today at all.
Yeah, well, you know what could possibly help is tomorrow we have NFP.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so if we have claims going up and weak jobs report, that would do it, because today's employment stuff was stronger than expected. So that's one thing that could curtail the sell-off for a while. I think it'd be, if you get a soft number, I would use equity strength to sell into. So
ENVX. I covered the shorts too soon. ENVX, I'm short the thing. What else was it? How about what my Wayfair short? Thing came down. I'm long it. Came down $12 Wayfair. 12. Okay. 2 days ago it was 68. Now it's 57. Wow. You know what I mean? I was short a little of it, thinking that there was thin volume. I listen, I tried to be a wise guy. It was end of the quarter. thin volume. The other stocks were in the group were acting poorly, as retail still is. As we always say before, the biggest moves come at the end, meaning the end of the quarter. The stock was in an uptrend, as you could see. So I kind of was early, took a lot of pain. You never make the same as you do on the way down, by the way, with the contra trading. No, I did well because I had a little bit more volition than most. I'm
going to be interviewing a uranium guy in about 2.5 hours. Any uranium shares? I looked at a few. They're under pressure. Yeah, this one's under pressure.
They were taking calls for a while, Coach. I mean, it's pulling back on the lowest volume. It's pulled back. I mean, it's pulling back on low volume. Every time it jumps up, it's with there's good volume. Boom.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got small volume. Granted, today is it's only 11:30. It may be skewed, but I wouldn't be really nervous about it here. It's still taking a lot of calls, CCJ. I don't know what you think here. This is a channel still until it breaks. So you buy lower and you sell into the channel, or
when they raid the saloon, they take all the girls.
They do.
Right. I mean, that's the kind of event I think we're having. And, this sell-off, no matter how long it lasts, is going to be a great acid test for what you're going to want to buy after this completes, by the relative strength of how it holds up compared to the market over the next several weeks, in my view. And I'm guessing commodity stocks will be one of them that holds up better.
GSS.
So metal stocks under pressure.
I don't, you know what, Coach? Now the VIX, it was before I was getting wiped out on the VIX, my worst position. Now my equities flipped. Like I'm long CF. CF was still acting very nicely. Now I'm going to have to sell it.
Yeah. But it was a nice trade from when.
But you know what? It stares up, elevator down in these type of things. What else I'm going to have to sell? Lucid was a hero. Look, 2 days ago, I got a little profit in it now. But it went from 760 to 680. Now at a gap here, you might want to look at it.
The difference between you and the majority market participants is that you might have to get out. Most people would say, well, it was big deal, one down day.
Coach,
right?
The CCL yesterday was 1970 post market. Well, hold on, this was yesterday. Carnival, 1955. All right, I have a lot of it.
Yeah.
So this is me taking it off. I'm still, my average price is like 1870, but I took the majority off at 1819.
Yeah.
It bounced to 1850. Trust me, 40,000 shares at an extra 1250. So I took off the majority of it. My average, I was just able to say that I was wrong in a volatile tape, but knowing that the VIX is elevated, I can move on and not poison myself with looking at things that I was just wrong in it at the time. So I move on, and the VIX is up, so I'd be able to wash things out or move around at least actively, and hopefully they stay this way. So I can wait for pullbacks and those sweepers to come back in the fund. In the meantime, I can just be a general practitioner and open for business every day and take patience in and trade all day.
Okay. Well, I'm going to close it with the VIX will play its tricks. And I think the trick is to squeeze vol sellers. They've had a bonanza for a while, so I think the worm has turned on those guys.
But Coach, that's why I do what I do sometimes. It turns so quickly. You know what I mean?
It does.
Let's look at the last. We'll leave it to VIX again. Lastly, and this is the VIX trading product. Okay, so if you're trading the VIX every day, you're telling your wife it's a miserable July 4th, all this type of other stuff. So this is July 5th, even June 9th. Let's go to June's 5th. Get wiped out a month of you being miserable in the VIX. Right. And I'm sure a lot of other products were the same. So you were cranky through your son's graduation. You had a bad July 4th. You're saying I'm in the freaking VIX like Mike Vice never said to do. And a month, right away, boom, your misery in 1 month is taken away. And that's emblematic of instruments. The market moves with price range, volume. And,
look at that volume bar down there.
So that's it.
Yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, these are, Ellioticians would call this impulsive action because it gets from point A to B in a heartbeat.
Well, I like impulsive action.
That's impulsive.
Because when there is impulsive action, there are emotions involved. And
Yeah,
that's where the retail gets, that's where it's, it's like Doyle Brunson looking at the, what I mean? A poker player looking at the rookie. So basically, I want to make a session as TA plot. Stocks are losing their 10 and 20-day lines, expanding the negative so far in the session. Both in short, medium term trends are now negative. Another one, they're attacking almost a 4.1 on the bottom. Okay, so you have two. Once again, my Twitter feed. I only follow how many people? We're not going overboard. I follow 77 people, but my last 3 posts, if you will, are saying how relevant the bond, the price of the bond move, the TLT, like Coach pointed off in the beginning of this webcast, and I'm sure he did it at the 9:30, which you can go watch on the Red YouTube channel. Also, stocks moving there, the 20 in there and the 20-day in there, 10 in there, 10-day. No rotation to speak of. Okay, I get it. Here, NAM weekly exposure. Everybody's still all in. You know what I mean? So I think they need if they still happen to be pressured, then it changed. People are going to want. I want to bounce. Now I want to bounce to sell my longs. It just happens in a week. Now I wanted to build on pullbacks. Now if Sands anything that's doing with wides, guys. Now I need. This is 4 or 5 days. I need a rally to sell.
Okay, well, if you don't learn how to change your mind, you won't have any change left. So that's the number one key. Keep an open mind. It'll keep your account open, and you definitely have that. You're not stubborn, Mike. That's something you and I as Geminis have no trouble having a split personality with the market that has.
I am able to look at my position no matter if I'm up or down a huge amount and say, if I wasn't in it at this time, would I start a position now without being biased? And you have to be that way. It's like treating if you're a doctor, God forbid, it's like treating your child in an emergency. I said to someone else, you got to sit there and do your job and not be emotional.
All right, Mike. Nice update, buddy.
You too, Coach. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good day. See you in the room, guys. Have a plan, trade well.
Yeah, see you in the